boy. Why, howdy, Gene. It's not the good old boys, no. It's Unrelenting, episode 116. I'm Darren O'Neill. He's Gene.
And in my best Matt Walsh impression, what is a podcast?
Isn't that a good question? It's a lot of things. A lot of people talking. And if you have been watching the numbers, as we have over at podcastindex.org, the fairly new compared to, how long the Apple thing's been around, index put together by Adam Curry and Dave Jones, the amount of shows has kind of stagnated, which I think is good.
You mean peak equilibrium?
Yes. That you're seeing. Well, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of shows that are in the index, which like 4 point something million. I think it's closing in on 5. And then you look at the ones that are updated over the last 3 days, 7 or 10 days, couple of weeks, and you realize there are millions of people who went, "Hey man, I could do a podcast. This will be great." And it lasted like a show.
Well, now you're generalizing. I mean, it could have lasted 20 episodes.
Could have lasted 2 episodes. Could have not even made it one.
Podcasts that were created by design to last a certain number of episodes.
A mini series, if you will.
Format.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little mini series.
No, so I think both things can be true. You can have a small percentage of the total podcasts that have ever existed are currently being still done, and not all of them were just shows that lasted an episode and people gave up after that.
How many millions of people, and it is only at 4.2 million. That was a little higher.
Well, there you go.
How many people do you think started a podcast, did 1 to 10 episodes, and then realized there's no money in this at all?
Yeah, there's no money and it's work.
Yes, it's work. You got to keep a schedule. Editing is not fun. Coming up with new content all of the time is not fun. That is a place that you and I have never had an issue, but there are people that are like, "Oh, what am I going to talk about now?"
Oh, can you believe this? There are actually people that script podcasts.
I know. I don't understand it. It's weird.
I wouldn't know how to read a script like that.
In the past 90 days, 470,000 podcasts have been updated. In the past 3 days, 110,000. And in the past 10, I don't know why they don't do a week. Dave Jones, if you're listening, give me the weekly numbers. 10 days is a little odd because you can then be doubling up shows that do it once a week. 3 days isn't enough. So we're guessing weekly.
Yeah.
Weekly, I would guess there's probably about 180.
Oh, hey, I hear his show's on right after this one.
Yeah, we are. We're the preview on the live stream.
Yeah, the fluffers, as some people would call it.
So about 200,000 shows, somewhere in that range, are being done.
But I just think you can observe it without complaining about it, because that's kind of like going to a bookstore and of all the books that have been written that are in this bookstore, only 5% of them have a copyright this year. What's going on, people?
But what I think is interesting is that number has plateaued. It's not like it's continuing to grow. There's a lot of podcasts out there, but compared to regularly updated YouTube channels, still nothing.
Yes, but I've also run into quite a few YouTube channels that have officially ceased creating new videos. Like they have this is my final episode.
Because they also, I guess, were not making money.
Well, I mean, life goes on. Like one of the guys that I'm referring to did 10 years worth of gaming content. And, in his last episode, he had a lot of retrospective stuff. It's like, man, I looked different back then. thinking about different stuff. I was a different place in my life. And,
that is the oddity of all of this media, is that you are letting people in to take a glimpse.
Yeah. And it is kind of weird and kind of sad, actually, when you get one of those episodes coming. It's like, no, don't leave, man. We're friends.
Right. You're my buddy. What do you mean?
He doesn't know who the hell you are. But
like, I hang out with you every week. You just don't know it.
Yeah. Especially the guys that do weekly shows, right? Because you do get used to a certain pattern.
There's the weekly show guys.
I watch the Puma that lives with people in Russia every week, and it's you tune into the continuing saga of what's going on in this Puma's life. It's going to be sad when that show ends.
Well, then you have the daily shows, which
it might be too much.
It is, but it's an interesting concept because, again, I've mentioned this before. It is like a hate watch now. The Lego guy, from Canada, who is just an idiot with so many things, but he does the daily content. And the intriguing thing to me is, up until, he started with Lego, I think during COVID or right before COVID is when he got back into it as an adult. He's like in his mid 30s. And now I'm like, okay, just a few years later, you quit your job, you went to be a full-time YouTuber, and now he bought a warehouse and renovated it to be his Lego building space. And he doesn't even do custom things. He just buys the stuff that Lego puts out in the other companies.
And makes it.
Yeah, and makes it. He doesn't create it himself. Sure, a little bit of the, niceties around it, the plants and the trees. Sure, he'll do that, but that's about it. But now he's doing daily content, has a huge amount of money invested in a hobby, now a profession that he's only been doing for 5 years or so. It's like, well, in 5 years, you may want to put a gun in your mouth because you are now, this is what you have to do to support your now wife and 2 kids.
And there is definitely that aspect to it. And I've seen that with YouTubers that have become successful. And success is relative, right? It's different things for different people, but generally, based on the interviews that I've done with people that have gotten a lot of subscribers, it's really not until you get to over 1 million subscribers that you can even contemplate replacing a job with income from YouTube. But don't think that it's just a hobby being replaced or replacing a job. It's not. It's a job replacing a job.
Right.
And a job that gives you no benefits and no days off. It doesn't matter what the reason is. If you miss a day, you will see a financial consequence for it. Not only on that day, not getting any money coming in, but on people telling you suck and unsubscribing as a result of you missing that day.
Right. Where you at, man?
Yeah. There's a certain expectation that's built up. And there's a guy named Ollie that's got, I don't know, 1.5 million or a couple of million people subscribing to him. That has been doing a lot of different game stuff. And then about a year and a half ago, he started playing Star Citizen, and his content became strictly Star Citizen. So he had an audience already built up when he started just focusing on one game. But he's put out a number of episodes where he is kind of talked about, a crisis. It's like, I don't know what to do. I have to put out episodes. I need you guys to watch this stuff, but I'm bored with this game. I have no interest. If it wasn't for this being my job, I probably wouldn't play it right now.
And that's the intriguing point, when the money, where it turns it from being a hobby that you're just having fun with to where the money is so good, you're now addicted to the money part of it or reliant upon the money, especially if you quit your full-time job and then realize that, I am now stuck in this. Or, the more, and maybe this is subsiding a little bit with the Me Too stuff, but you realize that you utter one wrong word even out in public if people know who you are and get canceled, and all of a sudden your money dries up really quick.
Yeah, making your living by being a public person definitely creates risks that don't really exist in other jobs.
Yes.
For sure.
I mean, maybe you can get fired from another job, but then you'll usually find another one as a public persona. Well, no, you're not. Unless you can rebrand yourself with some of these.
You may end up working for the Daily Wire or something.
Or you might have to get one of those AI programs that can swap your face real time so you can do videos and just look like somebody else. I tried that for the first time. The software was just updated recently, the Roop Unleashed thing that you can download. And my video card sucks. So it was all herky-jerky and slow. But even with that, it was kind of terrifying to be able to just swap somebody else's face on yours on a live video, and it looks pretty damn good, except again for the herky-jerky, which I know was just caused by the video card not being able to keep up. Like, I never trust anything you see on a video call now.
No, it's probably not a white guy at all.
Right, it's probably, everything. Question everything about what you see. The YouTube stuff, I mean, I thought this was right up your alley and goes right along with the YouTube stuff. There's a class action lawsuit that a woman filed against, the internet as a whole, I'm sure, but several different companies against Activision Blizzard, Microsoft, and others, alleging insidious manipulation of game design to foster addiction, particularly among minors and young adults.
Well, obviously, that's the point.
I know. And this is where I have such a breakdown, because this is the same thing that has been tried.
Yeah, you know what a non-addictive game is called?
A bad game, no fun.
Yeah, a shitty game that no one likes, then doesn't want to play.
Everything that is enjoyable, because I was trying to figure this one out. Everything that's enjoyable is addictive. Good food, addictive. People get fat. I can tell you that from experience.
I've heard that.
Video games, sure.
I've heard that. Don't
sex, a lot of people like sex. It seems to be addictive.
A lot of men do anyway.
Whoa, you saying women don't? Maybe you're just not pleasing them. I'm just guessing.
If you want to turn sex into a job, I guess that's something.
Well, if only, if only. The people, when reading the Harry Potter books, I heard from a lot of people like, wow, these things are so addictive. I can't even put it down. I have to read the whole thing.
I had one girlfriend actually try and read that to me out loud.
Well,
I've never read it, obviously.
Yeah.
No, she just graduated college, but it was like she read it, that was the book series of her life.
Yeah, the big one.
She's like, how can you not have read Harry Potter? I'm like,
I'm a guy.
I don't care.
That's true.
B, I'm like 25 years older than you. C, I'd rather read about rockets and shit than about magic.
You'd rather read Demo Dick Marchenko than
exactly about
Harry Potter. Different things are for different people, but those books from us were quite addictive. I mean, when I started a new Demo Dick book, it was probably done 90% of the time within a day. I mean, it wasn't one of these things where it was like, well, I can just read a chapter here and there.
Back when you had vision, you used to read like Ben does.
Yeah, we used to read. Well, and I didn't read a lot. That was the interesting thing. Was never a huge consumer of books, but the Demo Dick stuff, man, those were good. I mean, if I would have found somebody else, it would have taken way too much time, I'm sure, reading the books.
Well, did you read Clancy? I read a lot of Clancy.
No, never read any Clancy.
He was alive. Really? No.
Read a couple of Stephen King, but he was...
if you liked Marchenko's stuff, you would have liked Clancy.
Maybe I can check him out on audiobook. But the wife, she listened.
Sure you can. The thing is, you have to look at the books Clancy actually wrote, because after he died, his estate keeps putting out books that other people write.
New Tom Clancy
inspired. Yeah, because he started while he was still alive. He started doing this thing with, hey, if you're a writer that presumably he approves, you can write books in my universe using my characters.
Makes sense. James Patterson does the same thing. It's like he does, he does the outline, which is how he does like 3 or 4 books a year. He does, the outline, gives it off to another author, and then he, approves it, goes through it and all that. But a lot of the heavy lifting, he'll give you, here's my character. It's Gene. He's a Russian spy. He does that. Go put this together. Gives you the basics of the plot and everything.
Yeah.
And of course, those unknown authors are like, wow, this is great because I'm finally getting paid to write.
Right. So that's step 1 is getting paid to write. Steps 2 is putting your own name on something that actually makes money.
Yes, that's the harder part.
Mm-hmm.
But books are definitely addictive. Any product, when somebody says they're addictive, it just means the product is good. So all of these lawsuits against companies, whether it is a social media site.
Next thing you know, she's going to sue the gaming industry for having addictive casino games.
Well, sue Taylor Swift for the people that can't stop listening to her music. They're
just idiots.
That's an addiction. No, you can sue her. There's money in this, Gene.
Mm-hmm.
There's money. Like, oh my God, there was subliminal messaging to keep me buying and listening. And
I normally have my Alexa wake me up with a soothing noise,
like sheep or something like that.
A sound. No, not sheep. No, like alarm sound, but not a horrible alarm sound. Today it decided to wake me up by playing Santana.
So it just gave you a random Carlos Santana song?
I don't know what I could have said in my sleep to tell it to, oh, by the way, when you wake me up, play Santana.
You could have just been wake me up to Santana. It will parse the language.
It will definitely parse the language. I don't recall saying anything different to it other than turn the alarm on. And it decided to do it. And it was kind of pleasant. I was like, oh, well, this is unexpected. I mean, I like a little Santana every now and then.
Yeah, a little Black Magic Woman. Or is it Smooth?
It's
Oil Como Va?
He's definitely had more of that Latino kind of sound to it.
Well, you can look this up. In your app, you can find out exactly what you said and when.
Yes, that is true. You can go through it. But I like the mystery of it.
You could just say random song as well.
I don't think I said anything of them. You know what is funny too? Sometimes I will be playing a video game and there's dialogue in the video game. And even though nobody says her name, she somehow starts to answer questions.
Yeah, that happens every now and then when I'm watching
TV. The 64th president of the United States was Baron Trump.
You're like, what?
How do you know that, first of all? And then secondly, it's a video game and it wasn't talking to you.
It's all written down, man. Well, here's what's weirder. When there is a commercial that uses the name and it doesn't respond to it. This has happened a few times, and there was one where they had mentioned it.
It means it's aware of the commercial.
Right, which is even weirder. It is even weirder to me.
Yeah. There was somebody did that. I think it was South Park. I think the South Park episode where they kept saying Alexa over and over. That episode did not trigger a single Alexa
because they got
it. They got the script. They got the I guess it's not the script. They got the subtitles, and it was programmed to ignore those.
It's genius, because otherwise you'd have a lot of problems.
Well, that was, I think, the kind of the joke of the episode is that they're talking about their Alexas, but in the end, it's going to trigger everybody else's Alexa.
Which is why you never set your thing up, as convenient as it might be for some people. I never understood the set up that device for the the buying on just using voice.
Oh, totally.
Whatever they called that.
Yeah.
It's like the one click
Alexa, buy the latest Taylor Swift album, that kind of thing.
And then it shows up. Like, wait, did I order this?
Yeah, you sure did.
Somebody in the background at your house during a party accidentally said I was thinking about it, and it decided to get that for you.
I was talking to my girlfriend, Alexa, and I was thinking, Alexa, should you buy the latest Taylor Swift? And the answer was yes.
Now, see, I think there's a class action lawsuit for every person named Alexa to go after Amazon for ruining their life.
Well, to be fair, if you look at the people named Alexa, their parents didn't love them. So they already started off on the wrong side of life.
So they deserve the money. Just like this girl with the lawsuit against the video game companies. It's addictive.
Oh, she definitely does not deserve the money. There's been way too many chicks trying to fuck games.
It alleges that the intentional exploitation of psychological vulnerabilities and predatory monetization tactics were at the expense of consumers' well-being. Well, everything's at the expense of consumers' well-being, but
that's why they're called consumers.
Now,
they consume content.
There's a very simple answer to this, because there's a lot of things that are allowed to exist in the world that everybody knows is bad for you. If cigarettes are still around, alcohol's around, there's a lot of things that, fast food is still around, but there's a lot of this stuff that kids can't access. So I think we should just make all video gaming illegal for children. Wouldn't that fix the problem?
I'm okay with that.
It's like, this takes care of it then. This whole, it's addictive, and it's trying to get
video
children.
Games aren't for kids anyway, frankly, so.
Depends on which one that are out there. I mean, like the stuff you play, no, it's in a different level of, but there are very basic games that you can play. Sure. There's the Barney smash the head game or whatever it is that they come out with. That is.
Yeah, I haven't played that one.
Would probably be great before bed. Just be like, that's about, I love you, you love me. It would be awesome. But it's like, I'm going
sounds
through
like a trademark.
I'm thinking all this stuff is basically meant to engage people and keep them. And, one of the quotes was here.
What's
defendants make their games addictive in part by encouraging long-term extended gameplay, despite knowledge that such extended gameplay causes physical harm in the human brain, and particularly in a minor's developing brain. It's like, again, no.
That is such bullshit.
Right.
They've done tons of studies that demonstrate that the best soldiers come from kids that played video games their entire lives.
This whole thing of, you're going to get addicted because they enjoy it too much. It's like, this is everything that you enjoy. It's no different.
Next thing you're going to try and ban cocaine? Come on.
Well, I mean, if you're doing a cocaine while playing the video games, I hear it is
how
way
else
healthier.
do you stay awake?
It's way healthier that way.
I mean, I'm going on like 45 minutes of sleep now.
By making their games addictive, defendants are able to maximize profits after the original purchase or free download. Like,
that's called literally the definition of every business.
Yes, exactly. It's the
concept. You're not a fucking nonprofit.
To put out a product. When we do this show, the goal is to have an interesting conversation that people will want to stay engaged in for the whole episode.
Yeah.
That's every podcaster. That is everybody that has a television show. Everybody that's on the radio.
What are they going to do next? What topic are they going to talk about? Because they have no single topic shows whatsoever.
This is just unbelievable. And I don't know if this is, it's either stupidity or it could be an anti-capitalism play, because
she's clearly a socialist.
Once you start going after this, again, books, same thing. Well, I couldn't put it down. I spent 12 hours. Yeah, they're bad. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't take my attention away. This is trying to say that something was so engrossing that you couldn't take your attention away from it is bad and should be illegal, is just insane, because it applies to almost literally every product out there.
Yeah, and anything that you would classify traditionally as good quality would fall in that list, fall in that category. Oh, well, it was just created for consumerism. It was just created to take your money.
Right. What would be the answer in games would be to create crappy games that nobody wants to play.
Apparently, according to this woman.
That would be the answer. because otherwise it's addictive. And
I mean, it sounds like very much a Karen lawsuit.
Oh, obviously, but at only 27. I think there needs to be another name for super young Karens, because usually I think a Karen would be like middle-aged.
Yeah.
But when you're this young and coming off like, oh no, this did damage to me. It's like, well, one, then your parents were shitty because they should have been the ones watching you and like, you're spending too much time.
To her, or is she just complaining about other people? Like, oh, my boyfriend keeps playing video games. This sucks.
No, I think she's claiming that it fueled an addictive thing in her. And the microtransactions leads me to believe that she spent a lot of money, because that's a big part of this as well.
Yeah.
And the microtransaction thing is interesting on its own right, because, well, you're well aware of this, because your microtransactions in the
They're
game
not micro.
are not micro at all. They're big. They're really big. Where, well, how much do I have to spend for that new spaceship? Oh, $1,000, no problem. But now if you're a 16-year-old and you're pushing, oh yeah, I need that, man. I can't live unless I have that spaceship.
Yeah.
Then your parents maybe need to give you a bigger allowance, or you should be out playing with your friends or doing something different.
Oh, clearly you need to get a job.
She says,
I think it's a positive thing. It encourages kids to get jobs.
She was introduced to video games at the age of 4. Well,
okay, so her parents basically ignored her, and they just handed her an iPad and say, "Goo goo gaga, we'll be back in 6 hours."
That's what it sounds like. I mean, if you're playing video games at the age of 4,
that's what she had to be suing.
Yes, exactly. Because again, there are a lot of things in the world. Go to Vegas. All of that. This is Vegas, and kids are not prepared for it. There's a lot of adults who aren't prepared for it. They go to Vegas and they end up, $20,000 in debt. You see it a lot.
Yeah, with a dead hooker in the bathtub in the hotel room.
Well, that I've had a few times, but at least you don't.
Well, who hasn't?
Yeah, this is true. I mean, I've been to Vegas a few times and never lost more than like $250 because you go in going, well, here's what I got. And once it's gone, it's gone. I mean, I spent way more on food, but it's like that's a different thing, or entertainment.
Yeah, I was going to say, you lost no more than 2 meals? Okay.
Which is pretty good in the casino, right? At the time,
yeah, I mean, like Caesars has a great salad bar, but you're paying like $65 for it.
Yes. Those complimentary drinks are only there as long as you're putting money into the machines.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, well, we know if you have a bit.
Although that's not quite true. If you're winning, they absolutely keep serving you free shit because they want you to stay longer and lose.
Right. They don't want you to leave with your money.
No, with their money.
Right. This is true.
Wait, what do you mean your money?
No.
What's this your money bullshit?
Oh, you were planning on going home? No. The presidential suite is open. Stay with us. We will ply you.
We'll have your chips ready for you when you're ready to come back and play.
We will ply you with alcohol and good food.
Yeah. The only people they seem to kick out on a regular basis are the people that have turned the losing vocation of gambling playing into a job by using math. They don't like those guys.
Don't like the card counters. They frown upon that. But
yeah, they don't like it when somebody consistently wins.
But this is it. I mean, adults are supposed to, in this world, although we keep seeing more and more with oh no, we have to verify for porn and we have to verify for blah, blah, blah. Adults should be able to handle their own high. The government should not be involved in that. And for things.
But what about people that don't know that huge soft drinks are bad for them? We should ban those soft drinks.
Maybe you could just tell them that sugar is the devil.
Move to New York. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, then they tried to do that. Did it ever go through? I know they tried to be like, well, you could only buy soft drinks in up to like 8-ounce containers. And it's like, what the hell's 8 ounces?
I think it was 12, but yeah.
It's like addictive behavior. I would believe it is more prevalent and would happen more in younger brains full of mush.
I wonder if this gal goes to Starbucks every morning.
I wouldn't doubt it. probably gets the same thing and needs her caffeine maybe once or twice a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a double truffle latte mochaccino, some bullshit.
You know, this whole that companies deliberately engineer their products to be addictive, leveraging feedback loops, reward systems, and patented technologies developed with insights from behavioral psychologists and neuroscientists.
I mean, it's kind of what every restaurateur has done for the last 1,000 years.
Yeah.
It's probably 10,000 years.
And every girlfriend. And
oh my God, yes.
It's the same thing.
They engineered to get your money away from you into them.
Yeah, honey, if you take me here, well, then maybe you'll get some special attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the world in general. And
yes.
It's not going to change.
The course will teach her something her parents never taught her.
Yeah, it's like that. Just don't play video games. Nobody's forcing you to play video games.
What? But she's addicted, apparently.
You know, I also see people every time you go into a grocery store buying scratch-off lottery tickets, something I'd have never done.
Well,
it's like, you can say no. You don't have to drink. You don't have to get high. You don't have to gamble. You don't have to play video games. I mean, you can.
There's also nothing wrong with doing any of those things.
No, not if you can be in control of yourself. I mean, obviously, maybe this chick couldn't. And you're the one that's like, wow, if I bought every microtransaction in the game, I'm going to be poor, but I can't not buy it because I play the game and I feel bad about myself if I don't buy this sword. It's very weird.
Huh.
What am I putting your life into perspective here or what?
I mean, that kind of hits home a little bit, but
if you have the funds to do it, it's a much different thing. I mean, this is it. I've known people, you know, when we went to wherever we were, Martina McBride, when I was working for her, her husband was playing blackjack, you know, at the $1,000 plus a hand table.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you have the funds, it's not a problem. Michael Jordan, I mean, he could lose $20,000 a hand on blackjack all night long. And at the end of the night, be like, that was kind of a bad night.
Mm-hmm.
But wakes up in the morning and he's still a billionaire. You know, it all depends on what your current state of being is, that, you know, you have to understand what your limitations are, and you have to understand.
But trying to sue people that have provided the very things that you desire the most is ridiculous.
Yes. Well, it's the same thing. Then you go after people like, a lot of women seem to be into very expensive shoes and purses. Well, I guess you should sue those companies too, right?
Yes, indeed.
Because we know they're not worth what they're charging for.
They're definitely not worth. What the hell's the difference between a $1,000 pair of shoes and a $100 pair of shoes? They look the same to me.
One might last 3 days longer.
Yeah, maybe.
And probably the cheaper
all
one.
made in China or Bangladesh or somewhere like that.
But this is
it's not. Yeah, it's it's consumerism in general, and it also applies equally to high quality products, which also are addictive. Well, once you've had Haagen-Dazs ice cream, you're not likely to eat any other kind of ice cream.
You're like, I want more of that. The coffee like, Haagen-Dazs.
Jesus, this tastes like real ice cream. I want this, not that fake bullshit.
Here's another good quote from the complaint. Predatory monetization schemes in video games are essentially purchasing systems within the game that disguise or withhold the long-term cost of an activity until players are already committed, both psychologically and financially.
Well, they're not committed financially until they click something, first of all.
Right.
I mean, psychologically, you can be committed to watching the entire 10 years of House.
Right.
For some reason or other. And you feel like you have to finish it, even if you no longer like the show.
They charge you $1 for the first episode, $10 for the second episode, $100 for the third episode. And you're like, but wait,
but
I'm
in
already started.
I mean, I'm not gonna give up now.
Right. I have to watch.
But you're like that. You're using that as a joke. But I remember watching The Americans, and since I don't have cable, the only way I could watch is on Amazon. And I think they had the first season for free.
Oh, yeah, that's how they get you.
And then the second season was like, oh, would you like to buy season 2?
For $5.99.
Oh, yes,
I
you
would.
can buy that. And it's like, oh, you want to get the current season that's playing right now? Yeah, that's like $3 an episode.
Uh-huh. Things go up very quickly.
Jesus Christ. But what are you going to do? Not watch it now?
I'm assuming that was good. I've never watched that. That was the one Kerry Russell was in, right?
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. She was not particularly good, and I don't think she's a good actress. The British dude that played the American guy, or the Russian guy, he was very good. Like, he had a really good American accent. He just was a good actor. I think, like, outclassed her completely.
I mean, your American accent's pretty good, too.
Yeah, I have a little bit of that Minnesota twinge occasionally. But yeah, it's passable.
The plaintiff calls for accountability, holding the defendants responsible for their deliberate misconduct and exploitation of vulnerable populations for financial gain. Again,
yeah, the victimization mentality is just out of control in the country.
So you create a website that keeps people on it for too long. Well, then that's no good. Anything that is interactive and engaging fits into this category.
Mm-hmm.
The fact
you know what? We have to ban TikTok.
Of course, we're trying to.
It's way too addictive.
So is all of the other social media. And it wasn't TikTok because I wouldn't get quite that crazy. But the other day, I was bored, had about 5 or 10 minutes to kill. And I checked Facebook for something and the little Reels thing popped up. And I'm like, okay, I get this. This is kind of the same thing as TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And I clicked on it and watched it for about 5 minutes, video to video. And I'm like, oh my God, this is mind numbing.
Yeah.
There was nothing. I mean, there is no, unless somebody can prove me wrong on this one, I don't think anybody can create a video that's 15 seconds or less in length that is going to hold anything that is worthy of the time, even that short period of time.
Have you watched any baby animal videos?
No. Should I? Is that where?
There you go. Yeah, it doesn't matter. 15 seconds is plenty of time for baby animal videos.
Like, oh,
there's
that's
one clip
cute.
I saw of a possum with a dozen baby possums on her back, all looking right into the camera. Super cute.
You're like 15 seconds. That was well worth the time.
I mean, would you rather? I don't think you need any more than 15 seconds of that, but you kind of want your 15 seconds of that.
Yes. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe baby animal videos are the one thing that can save the social media. Mostly it was people acting out horrible little skits.
Mm-hmm.
It was people pretending they're doing practical jokes on other people that you know just aren't true, that you know, again, are staged. At least 95% of them appear to be.
Yep.
You know, it's all just like, why is this content even a thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't figure that one out, except that it must be somewhat addictive. Maybe this chick's right. It's addictive. And people, once they go down that rabbit hole.
Really is addictive. Addictive just means of the choices that you're presented with,
you'd rather do this.
It's the thing you choose. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
That's all it takes to be addictive.
I guess some people have the addictive personality. Some people have the gene that allows them to get caught into things that maybe they don't even like. I mean, I don't understand, and it's on a lower level, I think, but my wife, if she starts reading a book, or we start watching a movie and you're like 20 minutes in and it sucks, you know, or a book, you know, you're a chapter or two in, and it's like, and it sucks. I am of the mind where I'm like, I'm stopping now. I don't want to, where she's like, but we started. We got to see how it ends. Like, no, you don't have to see how it ends.
Well, your wife is a completionist. She has a little bit of OCD. It's a very common ailment in the American psyche.
It's like, I got to know what happens next. It's like, no, you don't. You could just check right on out. I guess I'm lucky because maybe that's why she's still here.
You could also watch a 15-second video that explains to you what happened.
True. It's Cliff Notes, baby.
Kind of.
Some people are like, what are that? We don't even know what books are, so we don't know what Cliff's Notes are. Were they Cliff Notes or Cliff's Notes? I forget. Cliff Notes, just, I think, right? Not Cliff's.
I think they're Cliff's Notes. No, I think they are Cliff's Notes.
It's one of those things like the Mandela effect where you're like, ooh. And I worked in a bookstore and had to see these things daily.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't tell you for sure right now if they were Cliff Notes or Cliff's
Notes. Were they yellow or green?
Yellow. Mm-hmm. You had green ones? Were there green ones too, or is that something different?
I think there were green ones.
For Cliff's Notes or Cliff Notes?
Yeah.
Cliffs? Where are you, Cliff?
Cliff Bar Notes.
Damn. It's when people didn't want to read the book.
Is it Cliff Bar or Cliff's Bar?
I don't know. Why are you asking me all these hard questions? My brain has been addled by video games. Well,
clearly.
That's obviously not true. I never played enough video. Maybe that was the problem. I didn't play enough video games as a kid.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Did you start at 4 like a normal person?
No, they didn't exist when I was 4. Although, wait, that's Pong probably a lie. Yeah, I think Pong, we may have gotten the first Pong machine into our house somewhere in the time when I was, probably between 4 and 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
When did that Pong? I'd have to look it up. I found it once online, the Pong machine that we had. It was so like revolutionary. Like you could move a line on a TV. Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Now the stuff kids get into, it's like, it's just got to have some kind of an effect. All of this stuff, especially the social media, the stuff that they post, the stuff that they share, the stuff that you are exposed to. Like, I don't know. It was way better not being connected. Although cell phones as a whole for adults, I think just as damaging. They can't stay away from the constant flow of whatever the information is, whether it's constant messaging, whether it's constant, like if you have a job where you're on call and you're constantly getting stuff from work. The concept of unplugging is one everybody should get back to at least once or twice a month, where you just don't have the phone around at all. Just go live.
Yeah, and it's easier than you think to do that. All you got to do is just not charge it for a day.
Yeah, leave it off. And not worry about, this is the addictive thing. There's a lot of people like, well, I got to know. I can't turn it off. What if somebody's trying to get me?
Yeah.
You're like, so what?
Yeah, I do think that there is a younger generation that kind of grew up with a phone in their hands that doesn't really know that their hands can be without a phone.
Yes, that they can live without the phone for a few days at a time. And this is just bad parenting. I mean, there's no other way around that. Like parents, you have the ability.
Speaking of bad parenting, I'm trying to decide right now whether I'm going to bring a gaming laptop with me when I go visit my dad.
Because you would rather not spend time with him when you're with him, or you're like, well, there are times where he's otherwise engaged watching Matlock and you may as well have a...
Both, yeah. I mean, or, Fox News or something.
Fox News. It's not what it used to be,
It doesn't really matter what it is. It's always been a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, news media overall, waste of time. Once they have 24 hours to fill, that's also where the world started taking a downturn. It was one thing when you had newspapers that, were printed once a day. And I know there were special editions now and then, but overall your newspapers were once a day and your television news was once. Most people only watched it at, one of the newscasts a day. It wasn't, hey, I got to get up and watch the news in the morning. And no, I got to watch the midday news. No, I got to watch the nighttime news. Most people caught up. If they were like my parents anyway, it was the 10 o'clock news and they watched that, not even all the time, but that was where you got the news. Once it went 24/7 and these entities were like, oh, wow, now we have a lot of time to fill.
You got to manufacture it.
The coverage of the news became completely different when you have all of that time to fill and you're like, well, what are we going to put in here? And this is where the rise lately of opinion is way different. I don't even know if people that are the younger generation
it's always
understand.
Been opinion. I don't know, man. Like you watch Cronkite and his shows. There's a ton of opinion there.
Well, yeah, but there was also what they would call hard news back then. Now it's all opinion. It's not even a mixture. of
Yeah.
news and opinion. It's just all opinion.
Yeah. And not only that, the worst part to me and why I've never really watched the news, but I also have not had a television for most of my life.
Yeah, but you always have a screen, which a lot of people, when they say you don't have a television now, it's like, well, who needs a television?
Yeah, but I didn't have a television starting with 1992.
Okay, you were an early adopter then.
I decided early on that television was just a waste of time, and so I never got one. And then my first television that I ever bought as an adult, well, ever really, I never bought one as a kid, but was I bought after I got married because my
wife wanted to play video games.
Stuff.
Oh no, okay, she wanted to watch not the cooking channel. I'm sure
I was already playing video games, but no, and then she, we went through a bunch of televisions over the marriage, and then when we got divorced, she took the TV, and I did not replace it. Still don't have a TV.
But you have multiple screens.
Of course. I have like 5 screens around me right now that are all active.
And I would like to know, because I
have a projector in the bedroom that is 155 inches.
Well, see, that's also a TV, technically.
But that's just for porn.
Right. Well, you need the 155 inches so it looks life size.
It's a wall of porn.
When you look at, if at least your answer to this question may be different than mine, but if you were to look at everything that's on cable, satellite television now, content wise, quality wise, compared to the content that's on YouTube, I think they're pretty similar. Now,
I'll pick YouTube every time.
There's better, more focused
YouTube
things.
has the variety that has never existed in normal media.
And it is
like I can watch my weekly Puma Living with People show from Russia.
But you don't have a TV, but how do you watch it?
No.
Well, of course, it's on the screen.
Yeah, well, it's on one of the screens for sure.
I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube on my 65-inch back projector, whatever the DLP projector, back projection, not front, which we've had for like 15 years. Keep hoping it dies, but it doesn't. So I just keep using
one day.
Yeah. But that's where I watch most of the YouTube, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what you're putting up on this. I mean, so which screen it is doesn't really matter. But I like YouTube for the fact that if I have a specific interest, like I was curious, what's going on with the AI writing? Well, there's channels specifically for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's actually a few of them.
And you're not going to find that
in that topic.
Right. On the regular TV, you're not going to find nothing.
No.
So YouTube wins there, but there's also, if you were just to...
Oh, the ship sale starts in 10 minutes. I just got an announcement.
Oh, boy, Gene's going to have to buy some virtual... This is like buying autographed Taylor Swift merchandise.
Pretty much. It's
get in.
Starts
quick.
in 10 minutes. I got to jump in there, be one of the first people to buy it.
You got to warm up your fingertips. You're like, got to get it quick, man. I don't want to miss out.
I've got my arm brace. I don't know what you call them. Those things you put on your arms to keep your arms from getting tired.
Right, like the bowlers would use. You're all ready.
Or tennis players.
Oh, sure. You are an athlete when it comes to the...
I am technically, and I've got the one that goes around my forearm. I've got another one that goes around my wrist and my fingers. And it's like in the shape of the mouse so that it guides my hand to be at the right shape.
So you can push that button just 1 millisecond faster.
And my mouse operates to a 10,000th of a second. It's a super high polling. Well, I've told you about this. I get my mice from New Zealand. These are the best professional gaming mice in the world.
I did not know this. From New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
What's the company? Would you know who makes them?
Swift Point.
And these are the best.
These
mice.
are literally the best professional gaming mice you can get.
I'd never heard of them.
Yeah, and then I think the first one I got was like $350. Now they're down to about $200.
which is not crazy.
No, for something that is like pro quality, it's not crazy at all. This mouse has a gyroscope in it.
So you could pick it up and like manipulate.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. You could pick it up and fly an airplane.
I mean, I've always used obviously a little bit more simplistic, but I've always used the higher end or the highest end Logitech. And finally, it took years for me to go.
Logitech was making decent stuff up until recently.
Yeah. It took me years to go from the wired to the wireless because I didn't think they could be quite as good.
Well, this thing's wired.
Because you got to be quicker.
You can't
wireless
go
too
as fast
slow.
wireless. Yeah, exactly. But it's got a display on it. Obviously, no OLED display. But here's the other cool feature other than gyroscope. It has pressure sensitive buttons. So the buttons are not just on or off.
Do you can program it to be like hard press and soft press?
Yes, you can do that. You can do them for things that I like. You can map a pressure of a button to a joystick axis.
Ooh. Now I can see why
things you can do.
see why you're defending the video game industry because you're addicted.
I mean, I'm not addicted. I'm just a user of it to a high degree,
to a high extent.
But I've always had an interest. I've run several software companies. I started off as a developer when I was young, and I still make mods for different video games for fun.
Yeah, now ChatGPT can code better than you.
It probably always could code better than me, but I doubt it could code as efficiently as me because that was always the thing that I really liked and everybody else hated is efficient coding. And therefore, because so few people did that, I kind of doubt that GPT engines would know how to do that. And what I mean by that, if you're wondering, is what is the fewest number of commands that you can stick on a single line to achieve what you're trying to achieve in the routine?
That would make sense because that's a big part of it. It's not, you don't want the bloatware.
Yeah, I come from a day when like the amount of memory you had was still an issue. So I never changed that tactic. I like to be very, concise. The code can operate in a very small amount of memory footprint.
Oh, and I guess there are people in the troll room. My screen just froze over there. So I was like wondering, why is nobody saying anything? NetNed's there, Omega Project, C Brooklyn, Billy Bones, Cotton Gin.
The usual suspects.
And we enjoy them.
The people who don't work.
No, they work and they enjoy the show while they're working. I mean, you work when you're playing video games. You're like, well, this is my job now.
Hey.
I'm a highly professional video game player. And that means nobody's boosting, though, because the pew-pew should be, there now. Okay, comic strip logger.
Yeah, you said the word boosting, so it reminded him.
Oh, yeah, he's Kurva. Is pew-pew working? Kurva. Yes, I mean, I guess it is. On only 333, I'm going to have to change that, though, CSB.
Yeah, I thought you did raise the stakes on that. Maybe that's why I figured that's why it wasn't working, is because no one was doing a high enough number.
No, I need to do that. This was just nobody. We're an hour into the show. Nobody's interested.
I'm just going to lay back in the chaise lounge here a little bit.
Yeah, is this how you get ready to buy your new spaceships? You got to.
Yeah. In 5 minutes, I'll be saying a lot.
Oh, you got to get in here. I was doing that the other day because the asshole people
phoning in a show with your partner.
They kept doing random drops of Taylor Swift autographed CDs. Never was able to get one. So I mean, there's that, and I fucking hate the CAPTCHA stuff. That should be outlawed, especially after you log in to an account.
You have a legitimate gripe against it being handicapped and everything.
Yes. And one day I hit the little headphone icon, which should give you an audio capture. And it was like, overloaded, no audio capture. So it's like, well, this is
tough shit, man. Learn how to read.
It's like, sorry, can't fucking see, assholes. See, Brooklyn says he's addicted to this show. Well, that's pretty interesting. We should separate you from some of your Satoshis if you're that addicted.
Yes, we should probably figure out a way to do that.
We need to microdose you out and be like, oh, we'll keep lighting up those neurons in your brain that are like, ooh, I like this. They're talking. They're saying more things. They're talking directly to me. Hello, C. Brooklyn. Thank you for listening to Unrelenting. Would you like to buy an upgrade package?
Mm-hmm. You know, if you send us money, you don't even have to listen.
That's like, you guys actually record the show only on Fridays.
That's true. We have the conversation basically the same way every day, but we record it on Fridays.
And it's always more entertaining on Fridays for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know if I agree with that.
The boys on No Agenda were still poo-pooing the ChatGPT stuff. And I
sent Adam the link to the new stuff, the latest.
I didn't
GPT
hear
4.8.
Yes, the 4.0. You know, not 4.0, 4.0.
Yeah, 4.0.
And it's a little O. From the big O. The voice that the thing was giving off, you know, that was the computer voice. Mm-hmm. It was like overtly flirty and sexy.
Oh, totally. It sounds better than most women.
You know, you're like, why did you go to that extreme? I mean, it's fun. It's interesting.
Oh, and it was laughing at his jokes. Right. You're so funny. No, I think you're so brilliant.
You know, this is exactly it. You want to talk about addictive?
Yeah, wasn't there a movie like this called Her or something that came out years ago?
Maybe.
Am I just imagining that, or is that a real thing?
I don't recall, but it's possible. Mm-hmm. But this is very similar to you want to say you're going to sue video game companies because they kept you addictive. This is going to addict every guy that's like, oh, I can pay $20 a month and a girl will like me, even if it's a virtual girl.
My God, it's such a good deal compared to the real thing.
Well, yes, it's way cheaper. Hey, Tom
way
Tomsky.
Cheaper than being married. So much cheaper.
And that was a good one.
That's very loud. That was right in the forehead too.
I even added a little bit of echo right to that. You know, it's a fully produced show, a little bit of reverb, trying to make it different than the other shows, which just means I have to pull up the screen here. See Brooklyn 1,000 stats. He wants to know if you are enjoying Star Citizen 3.23. How is it different than 3.22? I guess.
Yes. So there are still bugs, but the changes that they've implemented, I'd say for the most part are good. Still not sure about master modes, which he'll know what that means if he asks the question. I think that it actually does have some pluses, but it also makes piracy way easier. So I think a lot of people are going to complain about it because they're going to get killed.
How does it make piracy easier? Oh, you mean like in the game, not pirating the software?
Yeah. So what they, there
are pirates in the game.
There are pirates in the game, which is just anybody that kills other players rather than NPCs. I kind of define piracy as non-consensual PvP, player versus player.
Ah, gotcha. So this game is overall, you're supposed to interact with the non-humans in that way, but not.
Piracy is considered a legitimate profession in the game. So it's supposed to be in there. It's just that when you're trying to kill NPCs and somebody shows up and kills you, it's kind of annoying.
Well, yeah. Like life.
Yeah.
Somebody kills you.
I ended up in prison as a result of that. And
wait, so you're paying for a game where they put you in prison?
Oh yeah.
Then how much
for like
time?
An hour and a half.
You have to spend, so you sit there in virtual jail.
Oh, you can mine in prison. If you do a good job in the chain gang mining, they'll release you sooner.
Well, so if you work harder, if you're a good slave, then they'll let you out. That's good. They're teaching. At least this is teaching children something.
It is absolutely. Although I don't think any children are playing this game. It's fairly expensive.
Well, the rich ones who have their daddy's credit card.
Just the rich children are getting taught that. Yeah.
They're the only ones that get to learn lessons. So I just sent you
a link, which nobody can see except for you, obviously, to the current ships for sale, just to give you an idea there.
To see what's going on here.
What's happening. What's shaking.
See what's the haps. Oh, some are cheap. $60, but here's one for $350. Stock limited. Right, because it's a digital starship. Stock is limited. You're only limited because you put a higher price on it and then put a thing on that says stock is limited.
Yeah.
See, Brooklyn says you have to escape the prison.
Yes. Well, you can, but that actually takes even longer. And then
escaping takes longer than good behavior. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And once you escape, it's not like your sentence goes away. You then have to break into a police office and then hack the computer records that have your prison sentence in there.
This sounds way too realistic.
I mean, some people would say it's not a game.
Some people would say with this pricing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Time limited. Now, I'll bet you if you refresh about 2 minutes from now, it'll say sold out. Because it's a limited edition. I've got 2 of them. Limited edition thing that it gets sold out instantly, super fast.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you're in the
Brooklyn,
checkout.
You better be clicking refresh right now, otherwise you're going to miss all the good deals.
Test boost from NetNet, who just wanted to hear it go doo-doo.
Mm-hmm.
Pew, pew.
Oh, the MPV tractor is in. Oh, sweet. I'm buying that.
So you got to get all your stuff in.
I have no idea what it does. They haven't talked about it at all, but it's for sale.
If you only had an AI that could do all this stuff for you, it would be even better.
Buy things?
Yeah. Well, that's what everybody was mad about with all of the Taylor Swift stuff, which I'm sorry to keep using that as an example.
Yeah, I think we've got that bingo card covered already by now.
It's the only thing I can think of lately that people are going online and trying to buy quickly before it's sold out within seconds.
Right.
And everybody got pissed off. Like the last time when you bought the 4 and had it sent to me. Well, they were smart enough this time where they limited it to one per customer. And rather than just doing one sale for like the hour or whatever they could have, they broke this down into little like 3-minute segments over and kept popping it in and out of stock in order to try to placate more people. And that still made people pissed off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Am I talking about Lego? No, not yet, because we haven't gotten to that point. Although, again, going back to YouTube, there was a video that popped up of a guy who had his Lego collection, and it was in about the size of this office. So it was not a huge collection, but the value was about $1 million because it was a bunch of these one-of-one Star Wars figures that they made as promos and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you kind of go, you don't want to be a part of this anymore. There's too much. It's like baseball card collecting. It was fun until there was like 8,000 sets a year.
Right.
That's when I
you remember
jumped
when
off.
there was just like 2 sets a year and they had bubble gum?
When it was Topps, Fleer, and Donruss. That was the good old days.
3, yeah. I only remember 2 that I bought, but yeah.
Those were the good old days. And then all of a sudden Topps had like 14 different variations and sets a year. And it's like, no, you can't keep up with it. And then all of the
too much
short runs, it just is absolutely crazy. We are in an episode of The Big Bang Theory, no beret. That's kind of what this show is, but it's more Seinfeld-y.
Yeah, we're just like The Big Bang. I don't know why you...
Yeah, before the PSA bullshit, says NetNed. Let me tell you about PSA too, NetNed. Because my dad, I had those cards, the Jordan cards that were went through and had to get the grading on them. And then I sent them because we were, you have like 1 year. We bought into the bullshit with, you have the subscription. So I had some other cards done for him. It's been a year or 2 now, I think, since we've had any cards graded. And they sent me a thing about 2 weeks ago. Oh, here's $25 off your next grading. Come on, come back. Oh, limited time. And I didn't do it. And the other day, here's $100 off your next grading of $150 or more. So I'm like, okay.
Grading costs?
They're not cheap. Not cheap at all. I can give you a breakdown. But at least now I'll be like, okay, Dad, what else you got? What do you got that we can send into PSA? Because PSA is still the one that gets you the highest amount of money.
The one. Mm-hmm.
If you get them through Beckett or these other companies, the grading is decent, but like if you get a 9 Beckett, it's not going to get you what a 9 PSA would be, for whatever reason. I have no idea why. It's like either people think that PSA is harsher, which they may be. Let's see, Collectors Club only right now, the 10X special, a 10 card minimum. So if the cards are worth $300 or less, 10 cards are $15.99 a card. So yeah, 16.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Now that's the market to get into. That's the guy selling shovels.
Yes. Oh yeah, these people have made a shit ton of money.
You don't even probably need a person to do that.
Well, this is what I told CSB. I'm like, build me an AI where I can just slap. The other thing is they are so specific on this stuff where it goes down to the corner, how sharp it is, which you can do this, I would think, just by being able to scan this. If you could come up with an AI where somebody could scan the card in and you could tell them within 95% certainty what it would grade, then people would know if it's worth sending in, because most cards.
Oh, maybe that's a service you should do, is like, hey, for $10 a card, we'll tell you if it's worth sending in to grade.
Right. Because this is it. My dad had a bunch of cards and I looked them up and I'm like, well, here's the price difference, what they are, whether it grades a 7, 8, 9, or 10. With most of the cards, if it grades a 10, well, yes, it's worth having graded. But if it rates an 8, you're probably losing money, unless you're dealing with cards that are, even in crappy condition, worth, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if not more. Joe, now Net says he has a Fleer Jordan rookie that he refuses to get graded. That could be where, if you get a PSA 10 on that, you know what that thing's worth?
What?
The Jordan rookie. I think well over $100,000.
Holy shit.
Uh-huh.
You imagine how much you could donate to us if you sold that?
If you just send us your Jordan rookie cards. Don't send us your blankets. He said it would probably rate more about a 6 or 7. See, that's the issue. They're really only worth grading if you're going to get the big money. But the jump between a 9 and a 10 is the insanity that made the baseball card or any sports trading card stuff less fun, I think, because you're putting value on something that you had zero control over. Yeah, even in that range, he says they're worth $3,000 to $5,000, which isn't bad.
Wow,
is not bad. But yeah, if you get a 9 or a 10,
that's crazy.
And this is all very subjective. It's been, again, on YouTube, there are guys that have videos where you could, they end up posting, well, here, I got the card, I sent it in to PSA, and I got an 8. So I broke it out of the packaging, I sent it in again. And the next time, it got a 9. It's very subjective.
Shouldn't go in the other direction.
Sometimes they could go in the other direction as well.
Yeah.
But this is where the scam is in the grading, because it is a bit subjective, although it's easy to see, again, a computer, somebody that was able to scan a card, you could see how sharp the corners are. You could see the coloration. I don't know if you could accurately, on these cards that have gloss, I don't know if you could do that by scanning it. You might have to have a different system that would hit. You could probably build something that would photograph it from multiple angles that would try to recreate that.
Create a 3-dimensional copy.
Yes, and then be able to tell you what it would grade, because you would save yourself so much money if you could come up with a system. And you see, if people are willing, and this is on special, to pay like $16 a card, you could charge $1,000 easily for a system that would take the photos of the card, and if it was within tolerance, that if it could predict with 90% accuracy, if you send this card in, it's going to grade this, then people would know. They would save them so much money, they would be more than happy to buy your graded at home kit, because you would never send in the cards that are like, well, no, see, this corner is too round, it's never going to be more than a 6, so don't send it.
Right.
This is where AI could really be of use. Not for being creative, not for coming up with new Hollywood scripts, but for looking at things in the real world and evaluating them, which is where I think, Adam was being a little too harsh on the AI stuff. I mean,
I am wondering if it's just part of his shtick now.
It's a bit, maybe.
Right? Because it's like, there's plenty of good uses for AI, just like there's good uses for shovels. It doesn't mean that shovel solves all your problems.
True. And if you know its limitations, but I had it do the ChatGPT. I had it do the one paragraph teaser for Wednesday's Grumpy Old Bens with Ryan Bemrose and I.
Yeah.
And besides getting Bemrose's name wrong, which
is worth the money right there.
Right. It was, I forget what it said. I changed it. I updated it before I posted it.
But
it said in episode 256 of Grumpy Old Bens, the hosts dive into a range of engaging topics from the complexities of working remotely and the impact of corporate policies on employee morale to the intriguing yet unsettling advancements in AI technology, blah, blah, blah. And it was 100% accurate.
About itself. That's nice.
Yeah, but it was 100% accurate.
Yeah.
And then I tried something else because it didn't work with the last iteration. But with this one, I fed it the transcript with the timestamps and said, can you make me chapters for this podcast and give it to me in this format? And it just spit out the chapters.
There you go.
So I posted it. And now it's got chapters. I mean, I don't know if the chapters are good or accurate, but it has chapters. And it seemed to do all right and, figure out how to label them. So I think it has use because you talked about it and I saw this somewhere. It was one of the podcast hosts had this as part of their things that they were offering was we can do AI chapters. So I'm like, well, okay, I figure.
Yeah. So the Buzzsprout, the guys that we use for my other shows, they do that.
So now the ChatGPT seems to do that right out of the box.
$15 a month extra.
Right. Well, this is right out of the box, granted for the, and this, I think they opened up a lot, but it's still.
Yeah. And honestly, so does Zoom. If you have the commercial version,
it'll do chapters for you.
Yeah.
Like, well, just tell me when we change topics, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting. Yeah. But it makes sense.
Yeah,
this is the kind of stuff
like downloadable and plug-inable automatically. There's some manual labor involved, but.
Right. Well, it wasn't. It was like it just gave me one I could just cut and paste right into it gave me it into the JSON format. So I just opened up, boom.
That's nice.
Popped it in. And, I mean, at first it gave it to me.
Did you have to tell it to do the JSON format?
Yes. I asked for it in JSON format and it came back with the time codes. And I'm like, oh, no, just do that with, change the time code to seconds. And it did it.
Yeah.
And it just worked. Again, I don't know how good the chapters would be, although I don't know how good chapters.
No one cares.
Right. For this episode, for our show, for Grumpy Old Bens, for any show that goes on for hours and dives between different topics.
Yeah.
Any kind of chapters that just hit on keywords. And it's not that hard for an AI to go through and parse that data and go, well, here's where they changed from talking about one thing into another.
Exactly.
Now, I don't think, again, it could write the script or do anything like that, but for a tool to do certain things that would otherwise take a while, because I can tell you, after this show or Grumpy Old Bens or Planet Rage or any show that I do, I have a problem like, well, what to do that paragraph? Because I'm like, what did we actually end up talking about? Yeah. Like I forget it as soon as we do it. It's like, wait, what did we talk about? So having the capability to just go, oh, yeah, give me a one paragraph hitting on the main topics we talked about. Yeah. Boom. And it's right. I mean, everything has been correct so far. So I can't complain all that much.
Yeah, I think the AI tends to be fairly close. I mean, you can kind of say, well, that's not completely exactly what we talked about, but from what I've seen, it does spit out a
usable
usable. And I think the phrase I'm thinking is not inaccurate. Correct. So it may not be optimal, but it's not inaccurate.
Correct.
Yeah.
The female voice was a little creepy.
Oh, yeah.
I was just, again, it was trying to make it too human, I guess, or something like that. It went kind of over the beyond just useful to being, like I said, flirty and giddy is kind of a little more than, although I think you might be able to adjust that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah.
This is just like, wow, this will, and it's way more
but
useful.
That voice is something we've not had yet, really. So I think that's why they use it in that video, is because it's new.
Yes. And when they were doing the read a bedtime story, that's like, no, be more dramatic. And it got a little bit more dramatic. And then it was like, no, I mean, really dramatic. And it just did it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
This again, it'll just be parents that are leaving their kids by the machine where the thing can read them a story. And you don't know what the thing's going to come up with, because it's not like, well, read Grimm's fairy tale. It's like, make up a story about.
It's going to be in the format of a fairy tale with two mommies or two daddies and a kid that clearly was born in the wrong body.
So they can sue a video game company.
And
for being too addictive.
More than likely, the kid goes on to protest against Israel.
Oh, yeah. So. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that going on. Just watching the Fediverse with the people that are like, no, man, Israel was at fault, man. Don't you read they killed 6 million Palestinians, man? You don't know the truth.
That's exactly it. Yeah, the 6 million Palestinians. Yes, that's exactly right.
You just don't know the truth, man. But here, watch this YouTube video that's 8 hours long, literally.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my God.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't know how people decide, like, who they're going to believe. Bill O'Reilly.
How do people pick their favorite sports teams? Tell me that.
Usually it is due to geography, although I will say,
not always.
This is where NASCAR is a little different. Most people, if you have a favorite baseball team, it's the one you grew up watching, whether it was locally, or a lot of people became Cubs fans and Atlanta Braves fans over the years because it was the only thing on nationally because of WGN.
Right.
And TBS for the Braves, that, this is the team I grew up watching. So I get it. But it's usually local. It has nothing to do with anything, really. It is just what your friends like, what your family likes, kind of like we start growing up. And
I think that's the way it works in politics as well.
You grow up, whatever your parents are, you're going to be, although now they're getting a lot more of the indoctrination in school than they ever did. When we were in school, and we're both in our 50s, there was no political indoctrination that I can remember.
I think the closest you can come to that is the Pledge of Allegiance.
And that wasn't like, well, we're trying to make you a Democrat or Republican. That was just... No,
we're just trying to make you an American.
Something that every school allegedly did at that time. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming that was an edict, not just like something schools randomly did.
I think it all started during the big communism scare.
Probably. You have to pledge your allegiance.
Yeah, which I always found to be very silly to have children say stuff like that because they're not capable of making contractual decisions.
No, now don't you know you can decide at 7 that you want to cut your dick off and be trans?
I'm pretty sure your parents have to pay for that.
Well, of course. Well, I don't know. Now the government might do it for you. If you live in the right state.
You think?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It is a strange world. No question about it. You pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation.
One nation.
Under God. Can you believe we said God in school?
That was inserted. That didn't used to be in there.
And then they tried to take it out. Do they still do the Pledge of Allegiance? I'm curious.
No,
that's long gone.
Anymore. Yeah.
Long gone. They don't even want to do the national anthem before sports.
Long gone.
Omega Project says if you cut it off, you can become a Democrat instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one way to do it. Don't know if I want to do it.
They still do the Pledge of Allegiance in the House of Representatives.
Daily, this goes on?
I don't know if it's daily, but I think it's when they open up the session.
They're turning into the British Parliament, though, with the fighting going on.
Dude, yes.
Not that it's not entertaining, but...
I'm not opposed to that. I think the Brits have figured out politics. It should be entertaining.
You should be able to call people out and tell them why they're full of shit.
Mm-hmm. My honorable colleague here is full of shit.
Yes, it's always my honorable colleague is a total asshole.
Yes.
Well, then they're not that honorable, are they?
Uh-huh.
They're not that honorable. But
the honorable gentleman rises.
When will the AI just take over all of those seats?
Oh, soon, I hope.
Just take over, make everything better.
Well, I don't know. Actually, I do know. You don't listen to Just Two Good Old Boys, but
is that still a show? You and
it's
Ben
a show. Not only that, so you should listen to the next episode. The next episode that comes out,
not the last one, the one that's about to come out.
The one that's about to come out. So if I remember to, it'll come out today. If I don't, it'll come out tomorrow. But we started a new ongoing segment, would be the right term, where we discuss and debate what the Constitution of the Republic of Texas should look like.
Interesting.
Yeah. And my recommendation or rule, maybe even, was that we can't just copy and paste what currently exists in other documents. So we have to discuss it, come up with what we think it should have, even if it doesn't currently exist in the United States or in state constitutions, etc., and then put it in there.
God bless Texas. Although I don't know if they're that different than most states now. Used to be.
It used to be. I mean, the idea of Texas is different. The composition of Texas is becoming more and more foreign. And of course, by foreign, I mean Yankee.
Used to be a bunch of freedom loving, would stand up, would defend the land. Now, got too many other things going on.
Yeah, well, they might still defend land, but there's certainly a growing percentage of what I would call fiscal Texans, which is people that moved here from California because it's cheaper to live here.
Well, yeah. And less people doing drugs on the street.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't mean they gave up their California voting ways.
No, which is hilarious because they don't put two and two together that the way they voted created the mess they left.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you not figure that one out?
I know. Crazy.
People are dumb. They don't get it.
But it's not just California immigrants that have that problem. You look at the immigrants coming from the Muslim world, the people that escaped very harsh, severe penalties for a variety of things that aren't even considered crimes in the Western world, like speaking or, having your head not wrapped. They after leaving those countries that have that, they're very desperate to bring that to Western countries. And I'm looking at you, England, and London specifically, which at this point I've been referring to as Londonistan, because London really is a Muslim enclave at this point. It is not part of Britain. And Britain is soon to be not part of Britain as well.
Well, you're seeing it in Ireland, too. I've seen a bunch of videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it is migration that is overwhelming the local culture. Nothing new.
Oh, yeah. No, it's
being done for a reason, too. It's not random.
Yeah. Okay, now do a refresh of that page that I sent you.
The one where you got to see how many of the ships are still available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The real question is, how many ships did you buy, Gene?
Well, I've put some in my shopping cart, but I haven't bought any yet.
You're like, I like this ship. I like this ship. I see that first one still just, sold out. Yes, the Constellation Phoenix ILW.
As we're recording, is now sold out.
Wow, now did you have that in your cart?
No, I told you I already have 2 of those.
Oh, you got 2. Well, maybe 3.
Well,
you need
okay,
a fleet.
Technically, I have 4 of them, but I really only consider 2 because I have 2 for backup.
The other 2 are in the shop. They're getting some getting some pinstriping done.
Mm-hmm.
You're like one of those guys that just has way too much time on your hands.
I am going to pick up some new paints for the ships, though.
This is the ultimate for a game that is not even officially released.
Not officially done. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Where they keep selling you more and more and more. A concept ship, a Polaris ILW. Oh, only $750. How many of those you have?
Pass.
I'd like to take. I'm not answering that for 400.
Yes, exactly. It's a really nice ship, and been looking forward to it for a while. I may have picked 1 or 2 of those up.
Well, at least you have a resale capability until the game crashes and dies.
Right, exactly. So as long as the resale capability is there, I theoretically have a way to change the ships back into money.
Yes, Ned, this is video game add-on shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for professional gamers.
Yeah, professional gamers who have professional machines and professional mice.
Yeah, well, the ships are definitely tax deductible given my professional status.
And professional connection to the internet. Even Gene has a business connection.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got fiber.
If you only had 5 gig each way, you wouldn't have anything to worry about.
Exactly.
I miss the good old days when having broadband gave you the advantage and all this stuff, like getting tickets online to concerts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Dude, when I was playing professionally back in the early 2000s, I had a T1 line going directly into my gaming PC.
Ooh. I mean, now that sounds slow, but back then it was pretty
slow,
cool.
But it's 1.5 meg. But back then, 1.5 meg was like, holy shit.
Sir Bembro says, Sir Gene's connection to the internet isn't an issue, but somebody should check his connection to reality. No, that's been out for a while now.
Yeah, I recommend Bemrose check a connection to a virtual reality himself because he'll find it's a lot more interesting.
Ooh, you guys should do a show.
No one's ever said that before.
No, nobody ever said it and meant it. Perhaps.
So let's see how much. Oh, my shopping cart has $1,006 in it right now.
This is probably why nobody is boosting. Gene needs $1,000.
I need $1,000 right now. Give me some sats.
He wants to buy himself some virtual spaceships.
I need me some sats, man.
We all do. At least you got my node running. The node's still running. The node hasn't died. I still have about 1 million Satoshis each way with the way the channels have been balanced. So if somebody sent 1 million,
you're multimillionaire, you are.
Yeah, if somebody sent 1 million Satoshis right now, it would come in allegedly. I'm not sure.
It's so expensive.
The ships, I don't know.
I don't understand how I got to $1,000 so quick.
They want you to have you put your credit card in right now. Just read it to me, I'll make sure the number's right.
They already have my card, so
everybody will verify.
I see why. Because I have the combo deal here. Yeah, that's why.
Gene's credit card number is 53493654.
Exactly.
Did you order your lunch yet? Ned's going to lunch. Have a good lunch, Ned. This show is so personal.
Yeah, what'd you get for lunch, Ned?
We will wish you a good day.
I assume Uber is bringing it.
I've never had anything delivered by Uber, and I'm proud.
Not really anything to be proud of.
It is. It is sticking it to the man.
Like not being too lazy to do something is definitely not being something you should be proud of.
If I want my food, I will go get it.
I mean, again, not really something you should be proud of.
Should have somebody bring you your food. Well, I mean, you, of course. I mean, when is the last time you've seen your caviar guy? I mean, has he been around lately?
Dude, I don't eat caviar. I don't have any money. I'm poor. I keep telling you this.
It's because you keep buying spaceships.
Well, maybe, but
are the spaceships loaded up with virtual caviar at least?
Well, okay. The name of one of my spaceships is Caviar.
See, there you go. If you find the caviar ship in Star Citizen. People use like photon torpedoes and shit, and like find Gene. It's the assassin.
It's
Gene.
Actually, the caviar is going to be parked next to, as close as I can get to the show without getting shot. I usually do that. I usually park caviar right outside the gates so people can see it and go, ooh.
Ah, what a nice ship.
Exactly. Yeah, caviar is another one of those limited edition ships that not a whole lot of people have.
Now, can somebody steal that from you in this game? I mean, you could be pirates. Can somebody steal your ship? No.
They can. I mean, they theoretically could take it, but I can just claim insurance on it, so it's not a big deal.
Just claim insurance on your virtual spaceship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, does that get you
my
your ship
ships
back?
Have insurance, yes.
So that way, if somebody is able to take it, you press a button and it's back.
Correct.
So if somebody can go for a joyride in caviar.
Yeah.
It's an interesting game you're playing there.
Yeah, it's a game.
Sure it is. It's a game. You got the virtual reality headset on. You're all involved in this world.
How do you know?
I could tell. You're like, look at this, man. I'm flying through space.
Yeah, it's real. It feels very real.
See, I don't miss not playing, or I don't miss playing video games.
Okay, I'm going to check out.
So make sure everybody listens to the Dude Named Ben podcast with Gene called Just the Good Old Boys.
The Dude Named Ben podcast with Gene.
Yes. Yeah, he's kind of put himself up there a little bit more.
He kind of has. That's true. I don't mind. I told him, it's I'm happy to be the sidekick for the podcast if it makes him happy. He's the youngster, so
if it brings in more of the kids who just want to hear about angry old Texans. Now,
he's not that old, but yeah.
John C. Dvorak yesterday said if you're over 50, you shouldn't wear jeans. And I'm like, well, what would you wear? Should I go
Slacks.
outside without pants on? Really? Who's going to put...
Well,
really?
Without pants is definitely an option.
Right.
But,
like no pants. I mean, if I can't wear jeans, I mean, no pants, I guess, is a lot more comfortable than...
I don't understand the no jeans thing, because you can wear jeans till you're dead, as far as I'm concerned. But I guess...
Yeah, Willie's still doing it.
You might be more likely to wear sweatpants or something.
Yeah, sweatpants would probably be worse than jeans, so you're right.
Yeah. I'm imagining John doing his show in his sweatpants.
But jeans are comfortable.
I mean, jeans are comfortable for like going outside pants. They're not necessarily the most comfortable pants.
Well, yeah, I mean, not inside pants. I mean, who wears pants inside?
Well, not bears.
No. I mean, shorts, but I don't.
They wear a shirt, but, no pants.
It's the Winnie the Pooh thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, bother, I seem to have lost my pants.
I don't think Winnie the Pooh owns a pair of pants.
Oh, bother. He doesn't own any pants. Poor bear.
Uh-huh.
Somebody buy Pooh some pants.
Yeah, he's okay. He's fine.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm not leaving the house, I don't put on jeans.
He good.
Plenty of shorts.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that would just seem like it would be insane.
Hey, I just remembered we got Adam and Tina's wedding this weekend.
Adam and Tina's wedding?
Yeah.
This weekend?
Yeah.
I did not know that. How did I not know that?
I assume it's not a secret. Shit.
Wow.
Crap. Okay. There might be a wedding this weekend.
Uh-huh.
They're doing a reenactment since I missed the original one because I had to fly out to Seattle.
Oh, so they're doing it just for you. That's nice.
They've been nice enough to redo their wedding with me there.
Because otherwise it didn't count if Gene's not there. I mean, who else is going to bring the caviar?
Didn't happen.
Yeah. Who else is bringing the caviar and the case of the...
they already got their wedding gift. I'm not bringing it a second time.
No, if you're doing the thing, you got to do the thing. I mean, if they're reenacting,
I did the thing, even though I missed the thing, I still did the thing.
You have to reenact the gift.
No. The reenacting is for the thing that I missed, not for the thing I already did.
I don't understand. I think you have to reenact a gift too.
No, you're right. You don't understand.
I just don't. I don't understand.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Hopefully all the rain clears out, man. You guys been getting socked lately?
We have. And holy shit, Houston got hit hard. They got windows knocked out in office buildings and everything. They had over 100-mile-an-hour winds.
It's probably climate change.
And there's no, like this, from what I can tell anyway, this is not like some tropical storm coming in. This is just normal weather wind.
Well, it's obviously global warming. If this is just your new normal.
100-mile-an-hour wind?
Yeah. Well, it would be good for those windmills if they worked.
I don't think that they run when it's more than like 30-mile-an-hour wind.
Well, no, because they would fly off the...
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen one of those things shake apart and fall? I've seen a video of that.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be around it.
No, you got a thing, it's spinning. The tips are going like 60, 70 miles an hour. And that's at normal wind speeds because the tips actually move faster than the speed of the wind. And I can't imagine a 100-mile-an-hour wind what those things would be doing other than crashing and burning.
That's one way for it to go.
I saw another video that had it showed pictures of the windmill graveyard that they don't want anyone to see.
Maybe because all of these pieces are not biodegradable and they only last. What the average windmill
carbon
is like
fiber?
what?
Of course, they're going to last tens of thousands of years.
But the average windmill, lasts about 10 years? I mean, what is the lifespan on
in
those
Texas?
things? Yeah.
I believe it's 5.5 years.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, Ben would know for sure because he's worked in that industry. But
so you have to replace
they don't last
everything.
very long. They all have generators at the bottom to make sure that they're still producing power when there's no wind. It's a stupid ass idea. It is the stupidest thing in the world. And Texas went in bait, line, and sinker, hook, line, and sinker on this whole thing because
they wanted to be green.
We have more windmills in California.
That's nuts.
It is totally nuts.
Then you got the solar panels, and if you get a good hailstorm,
we got a ton of those. Yeah,
doesn't work.
We do get that, and we also have windstorms. And neither one is particularly good for solar panels.
Well, don't the solar panels
sandstorms is what I meant to say.
Oh yeah, well, because you take the nice shiny gloss off them, and all of a sudden it's
yeah.
I mean, anybody that watches NASCAR knows what happens during the race as just the grit from the track hits the windshield. What do you think's happening to your solar panel?
Yep.
In a sandstorm. But we didn't think of that.
I think solar panel roofs on houses make a lot of sense because you need a roof no matter what.
True.
Right? You're going to have something there. So if you can have a roof that has solar panels, like the one that Elon Musk sells, that makes sense. It's not cheap, but it makes sense. But specifically buying up land in order to put nothing but solar panels on it is just idiotic.
Now, because you were doing something with the solar panels, right? If you have the panels on your roof, one, as you said, it's not cheap, but how much time, even in Texas, where you're getting a little bit more sun, I'm guessing, than here in Chicago.
Quite a bit.
How much time does it take for those things to be paid off and are actually paying you back? And what is the lifespan on them to where you have to buy them again and start the whole thing over?
Yeah. So roughly, it's all estimates, right? But one of my buddies actually selling these things. So they start basically generating money for you, like covering all your electrical bills if you put sufficient amount on your roof, obviously. But usually they will pay for whatever electricity you use at night after about a week and a half. So you're getting about 2.5 weeks of free electricity there. Now, in terms of payouts for the cost that you paid for installation and materials and all that stuff, their break-even point is going to be right around 12 years or so.
That is insane.
Now, they're supposedly last for 30. Realistically, no one's going to keep them more than 15.
So by the time you hit 12 years, they're paid off, and you'll probably have 3 years of less capacity.
Everything is free after that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the capacity goes down every year. Yeah.
So by the time 3 years comes, it'll be like, well, it's bonus time, but it's the end result is you're not really getting a great deal.
The benefit of them isn't that you're getting electricity for free. The benefit of them is you're getting electricity when the grid goes down.
For a short period of time.
Well, if you have a Tesla wall, you don't need anything else. You can literally be off the grid, even if you're in the neighborhood.
True. Or get a generator.
Well, you could do that. Yeah, or you just,
if you want
plug
to
in
cheat
your Ford truck into your house.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to cheat, you get a generator and be like one of them guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always fun to see like the guys that think it's going to be funny to have a Tesla that's plugged into a generator that it's towing.
Yeah, I made some art like that the other day. I thought it was funny. Have a big smoking generator hanging off the back of the Cybertruck or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might work.
Did you see the picture of the Cybertruck that is completely rusted?
Yeah. Was that real?
No. That was yes and no. It is real in the sense that somebody actually created that and put vinyl on their real truck. So their truck does look like that, but it's not actual rust.
Got it. Bemrose wants to know how the
it looks pretty damn good.
And he wants to know how the Seattle area works with solar panels. Well, it doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
But you have hydro. You could just go and get water.
They have hydro. They have, I guess in the Seattle area, they have a little bit of, or in Washington State anyway, they have a little bit of, what do you call it when the ground is hot?
When the ground is hot.
Thermal power or whatever. Yeah, if you got, some volcanic activity underneath the ground.
Ah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's way easier, though, just to put
like Iceland's mostly using that.
Put those volcanoes to work.
Yeah.
Geothermal. Thank you, Bemrose.
Geothermal. There you go.
Thank you for quantifying. But
it's all bullshit. Like, we don't need any of that. All we need is nuclear.
Well, nuclear does everything you need it to do.
It does.
Gives you unlimited power almost.
Yep.
Very cheap.
Yeah. The only costs really of nuclear are costs created by the government.
You could have
regulatory costs.
Miners working day and night.
I mean, I don't know I'd want to, but you could, sure.
For Bitcoin.
Okay.
You could have more Bitcoin.
I mean, you're better off buying low and selling high, but okay.
Could be a Bitcoin billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you say that, but you went the other route. You bought high.
67,000. No, I didn't buy high. I've never bought this high, man. I think my highest that I bought was at like 51.
So you finally got into where you're making money now.
But I also bought a bunch at like 30.
It's time to get out. It's all going to crash.
You think? I'm not getting that. I'm a buy and hold guy. Someday Bitcoin will be worth as much as baseball cards.
I mean, the fun part of that is it's up and then it's down and then it's up and then it's down. Mm-hmm. With anything, the question is when to sell. And there's some of the stuff we got, and it's like,
well, and if you're trying to do this professionally, it's not a when do you sell? It's a you buy and sell every single day.
Yeah, it's a daily thing.
You're making money on the up, and you're making money on the down. If you do it right, I don't do that. I just hold.
You're a hold'll?
Yeah, I'm lazy.
What CSB would tell you to do. He wants to keep the Bitcoin forever.
Mm-hmm.
Till it's worth
and
everything or nothing
I've
at all.
I've said that I don't anticipate selling until it's worth $1 million.
Oh, it'll get there any day now.
$1 million a coin. Now I think Adam would tend to think more the way that I do, but I'm pretty sure Tina has a number much lower.
When it's going to be liquidated.
When she's going to sell it. Yeah. Exactly.
Got to be like, nope, this is it. It's never going up. I would have
well,
to.
we better get out. This looks like the end.
Well, the question will be when the government finally screws it up, because that is the most likely route that it will go.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think as long as they get their taxes, it's all they care about.
I think at some point they're going to want the tracking and everything else, that they're going to be like, well, no, we can do this better. When doesn't the government go,
Yeah.
No, we can do this better?
Well, and they likely will do that the current U.S. currency will be transitioned to a digital currency that is set up similar to Bitcoin, but with some other provisions. But the idea of having a public ledger like that is something that a lot of people want. Like, you want that level of trackability, because then nobody can launder money. In Bitcoin,
Right.
There is no money laundering unless you employ some other folks that are going to hold your money. Like, all this idea of like, well, send money through us, and then we're just going to charge you 5%. Okay, but there's a trail of money going to you and a trail of money going from you to me.
Well, right. This is the concept, though, behind the people that run the mixers, that they call them, where it's like, oh, you want to hide where the funds came from.
Yeah.
Well, you send it through a mixer. It's like, okay, I'm sending $1,000 to you, and Bemrose is the mixer, so I send him $1,010, and on the other eye, and $1,000 goes from him to you, so there's no direct connection. But as you said, it doesn't take a genius to figure out.
The only way to do it well would be to use sats. Sats are more or less liquid. I mean, they're less traceable, because you're just shoveling tiny little amounts of money all over the place.
Well, and then there are systems like Monero that don't track in the same way and don't have the ledger. But of course, that's why they're trying to get those removed.
But that's also why Bitcoin, I think, is the only real digital currency. Everything else is just shitcoins, is because it does have the ledger.
Got the ledger. There's a lot of those coins that are just sitting there. It's always fun to think about the people that had, I had 5,000 coins and I didn't think they were worth nothing. And I don't remember how to get them.
I had like 3.
Which is still enough to be like, fuck. But if you had like 5,000, you'd be like, fuck.
Yeah, that'd be way fucked. That'd be horrible. Yeah. And it's, they didn't go up fast enough to prevent me from throwing away the computer that they were on.
Right. It took enough time.
They were worth a few cents when I mined them, and they were worth maybe 10 cents when I threw the computer away.
And you're like, this is nothing. I don't have to worry about backing this shit up.
Well, I mean, I don't think I probably didn't back up, but also, I just didn't go out of my way to save that shit, because, computers crash. And after a while you get to that point where you're like, this thing's crashed and I kind of need a new computer anyway. So, and all my important stuff's backed up. So I don't even need to worry about booting this one. I just need to throw it away.
Just move on.
Yeah.
I get it. You got to put all the money into Spaceship. Imagine the spaceships you could have if you had those 3 Bitcoin.
I know, right?
Spaceship
That's a good
money.
Point.
I always laugh, and I know
but
it's
are spaceships really any different than Bitcoin?
No, not really. Or any kind of merchandise or collectible or anything like that. I do, even though
it's all fiat currency, no matter how you slice it.
Even though it's a really false equivalence, there are people that are like, hey man, back in the day, I bought a pizza with 25,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And now you're like, well, that's worth multiple billions, if not trillions of dollars by now.
Well, and I know people, I mean, not with that much, but I certainly know people that were trying to spend Bitcoin back when Bitcoin was like $10. Like, it's finally worth something.
Right.
Now I can start spending it.
It went way up.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people thought I don't think many people thought that something that has the name coin in it would be worth $67,182.
No, it wasn't even on the figure for people to be thinking about it.
No.
It's 2,000 sats from NetNet who says boosting so Gene can buy the good ship lollipop. Well, that
nice.
would probably be about enough for that.
Mm-hmm.
A whole 1,000 satoshis.
Add a zero.
Add a few zeros.
Yeah.
Although it would be a great ship name. The good ship lollipop.
I'm pretty sure somebody has that name already.
The good.
You can only have one person with a name.
Oh, you have to get in first. That was
that's why I have caviar.
Caviar. Now, could you just sell the name? Could you do that? Is it like domain name?
Sell the name. Don't think you can sell the name.
Bastards.
I know.
The good ship lollipop. Was that a song from Shirley Temple? Was that like going way back, right?
I think that the lollipop is from a song, but I don't think it was a ship in her song.
No, there is a good ship lollipop, something with the candy shop. There was a song, man.
Are you sure?
Yeah. My musical knowledge is second to none. Well, maybe a few, but I know enough to be dangerous.
Maybe for pirated music.
Well, what other kind of music is there? It's like spaceships. Why would you do anything but pirate it?
On the Good Ship Lollipop is a song composed by Richard Whiting with lyrics by Sidney Clare in 1934.
See, there you go. My musical knowledge goes at least back to 1934.
Yeah. Well,
was it recorded by Shirley Temple? That's the question.
Yeah, Shirley Temple. Yeah.
There you go. The original Taylor Swift.
Exactly. And we all know how she ended up, don't we?
Not very well, I'm guessing. I don't remember
drugs. They all end up drugs.
Like Marilyn Monroe. A lot of people
when they got fucked by the president.
Well, who doesn't? Today we all get fucked by the president.
Not literally. I meant figuratively.
Oh, I gotcha. I mean, today literally we all get fucked by the president. Thanks, Joey.
Yeah.
I mean, if Joey was not screwing you, Gene, just think of how many more spaceships you could buy. And then you could buy more wedding presents virtually.
Yeah, virtually.
Hey, maybe they'd like a spaceship.
Yeah, maybe they would like a spaceship. That's a good idea. I should start giving spaceships to people.
Give it a good name and be like, here's the spaceship.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, we prefer cash.
You don't want blankets? Okay, I've got a spaceship for you.
Got a beautiful spaceship. It's a beautiful thing.
Good ship lollipop.
Not a big pew pew today, but by the next show we'll change that. We need a different
sound effect.
Yeah, I need to do like a CSB voice for anything over, whatever we figured, 5,000-10,000 satoshis. Have like a CSB voice going like, "You've got the money."
That would be pretty good. Hey, CSB, you want to record that for us?
Yeah, we'll share it with everybody. He's very shy. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know. I constantly don't know why people are shy that are shy. I just talked to another guy that I play video games with, and I was like, I invited you to have lunch, and you blew me off.
Ooh.
And what's the deal with that? And he doesn't live here anymore, but back when he used to live here.
Well, he's like, Gene, I moved 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, I had to move to run away from you. No, he's like, well, I've got social anxiety. I'm like, well, get over it.
Is he addicted to video games? I mean, he could be a part of that class action.
I mean, I don't know. He plays video games. I don't know if he's addicted to video games, but like, what the hell kind of excuse is social anxiety? What the fuck is that?
I think everybody has social anxiety, but it's usually by interacting with children in real life throughout grade school and high school. You're supposed to figure out how to interact with your fellow man. But today,
if you play a fucking video game with somebody for 10 fucking years, how do you have social anxiety?
Because they're not in the same room. There are people that are like that.
Who cares? Oh my God.
I mean, I'm with you.
That's retarded.
I am with you, but there's a lot of people who are like, that's not reality. Your voice on the other end of that is like, you may as well be an AI to them.
I
So
am
it's
an
like,
AI. What do you care?
you put the thing then in real life, it's like, oh, this is different. I have to go out in the real world and see you
Oh my God.
and interact with other people. There's a lot of people like that. And I think it is because of the screen addiction and kids not learning to interact with other humans in the way that we did growing up. And this is really going to be hitting more and more because there's every generation now. This is
Well, luckily they won't have to. Yeah, they won't have to interact with anybody because the new AI sounds very appealing.
No, you're talking about me. That was Mickey Mouse more than a female voice, but you get
That
the
was
idea.
definitely Mickey Mouse, and no, don't bring that little
Hi, everybody.
perverted animal in here.
Oh boy, I love the Unrelenting podcast. It is the best.
Yeah, I just don't prefer pedophiles not listen to us.
I didn't say she was crazy. I said she's fucking goofy.
Okay, we don't need bestiality in here either. I don't see how you think that's better.
CSB says, Corva, I am not shy. Only my voice is off the record. Well, thank you, CSB.
Yes, he's not shy because he will talk your ear off. But
Yes. So yeah, if
But she
CSB
doesn't wanna
ever
be off the
invites you to
record.
Jitsi, be ready. You
Oh,
might
yeah.
want to have a colostomy bag sitting ready and a few extra gallons of water so you can stay hydrated.
Uh-huh.
But an interesting conversation you will have.
Yeah.
That much is guaranteed. You got anything exciting going on this weekend? Oh, wait, you're going to a wedding.
Allegedly, yes.
Yeah. And then we'll be back next week for another show. I mean, as much of a show as this actually
I don't
is.
see why the show would have anything to do with it.
No, I just didn't know if you were going to make it back or if there was another spaceship sale, something like that.
Oh.
There's so many things that can
No,
be
the
going on,
only
Gene.
interruption that we're going to have, we probably will have, likely. So we'll have to do like either we'll skip a show or we'll record something for the time. Is next month I'm flying out to see my dad in Seattle.
And the question is, will you bring a gaming laptop?
And the question is, will I bring a gaming laptop? But even if I do, I probably shouldn't record a podcast and ignore him.
Yeah, that would be rude.
I'd rather ignore him while playing video games.
Unless you could bring him into the room and he could tell us stories about your...
definitely not going to do that.
Let me tell you about little Gene.
Yeah.
When we caught him in grandma's heels.
Those stories would not be pleasant to hear for me.